Hey guys, it's Joli. You may be aware that September is Chronic Pain Awareness Month, and as such, I wanted to come to you and talk a little bit about the topic. I have a couple of conditions that cause chronic pain, and when I was thinking about it, I have a few things I would like to say for my fellow sufferers and to those who may not know what it really means to be in pain on a regular basis. So I think one of the most important things I would like to say to those of you who experience pain on a regular basis, who are fighting the daily fight, is this, and that is that it is okay to not be okay. And it sounds like a very simple statement, but I feel like that is something that when you're suffering, you don't hear enough of. There is a lot of things people say that are meant to be encouraging and to be uplifting, but ultimately put a lot of pressure on you to keep like a perfect face all the time. And you don't have to do that. It is okay to not be like on your game at all times. It is not required that you always just project this positive attitude. So even just like today, I just decided that this does not have to be like a super slick video. So I am just completely au naturel for you guys because I don't think it's necessary to speak to people, to, talk about your personal experiences, to be 100% perfect. It has not been a perfect day for me today. It has not been a good day for me yesterday. I've been in high pain levels because I went to a concert, probably against my better judgment, but I did it anyway, which is something people tell you to do all the time, is they say, do things anyway, and it's put me in a lot of pain. And while in this moment, I'm coping okay, I've spent a lot of time the last 2 days just being like, I can't handle this, I can't handle this, I can't handle this. Oh my God, it's never gonna stop. Everything's wrong. I ruined everything because I had back surgery a little over a month ago. It's like I ruined everything. I did things too soon. I overdid it, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff goes in your head. And, you shouldn't have to feel bad for feeling that way. You shouldn't have to sit there and on top of that be like, gosh, I'm a bad person for thinking like this. No, sometimes you have to let yourself. Sometimes you just have to let yourself be like, I am not okay. And just sit with that and just be not okay. And I don't mean by that to, it doesn't mean it's okay to like do something harmful to yourself, but it's okay to not always have a positive mindset. And I feel like even though that feels, or it sounds like that promotes negativity, it's like a kind of permission that when you're coping with pain and with what your body is doing, that you need to hear. And like, I need to hear it. And fortunately, I have a husband who can be who is very supportive, who can tell me that, it sucks. And it's not your fault that it sucks. And you're doing the best you can. And the best you can, it's okay if the best you can isn't where you want it to be, isn't where other people think it should be. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay to occasionally have a wallowing fest. It is okay to cry. It is okay to feel like you can't fight anymore. And I know for me, like that is one of the most frustrating things, is so often it's like, I will just say, it's like, I quit. I can't do it. But I can't quit. I do not have the option. This is not a job or a project or anything like that where you can just say, no. I don't have a choice. I have choices like, the reason I've been in pain the last few days, or more so than than normal, is because I chose to do something, a normal person would do, and I pay for it. And when you have to pay for normal like fun activities, or sometimes you have to pay just to keep a job, just to, work outside the home, to take care of your own family. Right now, it's extremely painful to cook dinner. Like, that sounds ridiculous, but standing there at the stove, I'm not supposed to bend very much, so it's like I've been doing squats, and I'm not used to doing squats because it's just not part of my exercise routine. It's just been very, very difficult for me to be like over a stove and trying to stay, but there's back burners, so you're kind of like, okay, do this, do that, and then you can't lean over the sink to rinse something, and you can't, get down into the, put something in or out of the oven very easily. It is just, it's so frustrating at times, and, sometimes you gotta say, forget it, we're getting McDonald's, at least the kids will eat it. So, just giving yourself permission to it's almost like a grieving process. It's just to kind of acknowledge and accept those negative feelings. I mean, sometimes you just have to be down in the pain too. Sometimes it's like, to get over it, you have to let yourself feel it, because the more you try to ignore it, the harder it seems to press you to get your attention, which is just, but it's all right. You shouldn't feel worse because it becomes overwhelming. There are lots of things you can do, after you kind of like give yourself the permission to be like, to kind of bring yourself back out of it. But, it's like they talk about, even with like addictions and stuff like that, sometimes, and when it's something you live with, and plenty of times, you have to hit that low before you can yourself back up, because, it's hard to pull yourself up by the bootstraps when you're still trying to stand but just wobbling. You got to get your butt on the floor to get it, standing. I don't know. I apparently am not very good at metaphors, so I'm sorry for that. And, that's another thing, is you get the brain fog. You get on medications that work and then don't work, and then medicine changes, and that's just like a whole other thing. It can be so frustrating. Like, for me, I have the back injury, and then my other major source of pain is I have a bladder condition, which up until about 3 months ago I've been told for years, for like over a decade, it's interstitial cystitis, or IC, which September is also Interstitial Cystitis Awareness Month, and other bladder problems. And then I saw this new urologist, because I've not been able to keep my, it's without going into great detail, it's kind of like having a bladder infection from hell, but with so many other stupid symptoms. But anyway, I saw this new urologist, and then they're like, oh no. So now IC has this new clinical diagnosis that you have to have this one special criteria to actually have that disease, condition, whatever. And so now instead I have painful bladder, which is all the same symptoms. I just don't have ulcers on my bladder. So, stuff like that, it's like when you feel like you've settled into, like, you've accepted what you have, and then, like, they say, oh, no, it's not this, or, oh, this treatment you've been doing probably hasn't been doing you any good, even though it's, like, tough, because, like, the IC thing, it's, like, because the bladder, and it gets irritated, it's, like, you're on these diets sometimes that are, like, and it's not even a healthy diet, because it's like all plain and nothing acidic and nothing spicy. So you're eating like all these plain, like, white carbs and stuff. And it's awful, especially for someone like me who's had gestational diabetes twice and is now like basically being told that I probably have type 2. And I'm sitting here going, what the hell am I supposed to do when my bladder flares up? Because I can't eat these like mega carbs that are supposed to calm things down. It's just, it's mind-blowing, and that's one of the things that it's like sometimes you just have to sit there and scream. Preferably not at your doctor, but, come home. My best friend and I in high school, we used to do this thing where if we were like so frustrated, we'd get in our car, and it's like count to 3 and then scream your brains out. I miss that. But, sometimes you just, because you can't do that around little kids, you just have to come in and either like mentally scream, or, do the thing where you grab your pillow and just you know, like on Lilo and Stitch. Do you remember that scene where they're both just like freaking out and screaming into their pillows? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to scream. This is one of the reasons why I like hockey, is because you basically go in and yell for 3 hours straight. You know, it doesn't matter whether they're doing something good, doing something bad, you get to yell. And it makes you feel better because it releases all this like tension and, you know, gets like aggravation out or whatever. So yeah, and it's just, you know, I've had so much back and forth with this back. You know, so basically I hit my tailbone really hard when I was 20. And so it's had like a fracture, and so things are off and discs are degenerating and nerves get caught. And so it's like for forever I've been having things, you know, it's not technically sciatica, but I have the shooting pain down the leg, and sometimes it gets weak and collapses. I've had all these shots, you know, cortisone shots that, you know, have helped or not helped to various degrees. And then, you know, I just came into this new doctor and he's like, no, we can pull those nerves free. And it's like, what do you mean you can pull those nerves free? What do you mean? And so it's like, it's good. And it might have a really great effect, but I don't know. I'm 5 weeks post-surgical, and I'm still dealing mostly with recovery from surgery. But so there's this thing, and you don't want to hope too much. You get these new medical things, and it's like you are hopeful, but you know at this point you're so conditioned not to expect anything because you can't handle being crushed over and over and over. And so, you know, those instances, you can go to the doctor, you hear all this crap, you go, okay, we'll do this, we'll try that, we have a plan, and then go home and just melt down. Like, just give yourself permission to melt down. I know that's basically what I'm saying over and over and over and over in this video, but seriously, it's okay. It's okay. Give yourself permission to not function for a short period of time so that you can, like, handle what you need to handle. And, you know, sometimes you can't handle stuff and you have to cut back and you have to do all kinds of stuff. That's kind of a whole other topic, because really all I want to say to you right now is that it's okay to not be okay. It is. It really, really is. And, you know, positivity has its place and can be very healing, but sometimes you have to be negative to be positive. And that's just how it is. And if you feel like you can't handle it anymore and you just need to cry or do whatever, let yourself understand that sometimes that's something you need to do, and it's not shameful, and you shouldn't have to feel then that by breaking down you've failed. You have not failed. You are taking care of yourself, even if it seems like the opposite. So that is really what I wanted to come here and say to you today. My hope would be if it reaches someone who's been struggling with these feelings and unsure what to do with them, and just feeling like if they let themselves, like if they let their guard down, if they let their like facade fade for a moment, that they're a total failure. You're not. You're not. You're going to be okay because you're not letting yourself not be okay. It sounds so stupid, but it's true. So that is what I have to say about that. I will hopefully be back and talking to you super soon. If you have any questions, if you want to talk to me, if you want to talk about your own experiences, I certainly welcome you to do that in the comments or we have the Facebook page, Instagram, whatever. You just need to share, because sometimes we need to be able to talk about the things that are hard. And, you know, I would love to encourage that and to help facilitate that if at all possible. So, please feel free to do so, or to contact me like through private message or whatever. I am no expert, no psychologist, and no doctor, but any way that I can help someone, I would love to. So I think that's it for now, and I hopefully will talk to you all very, very soon, and maybe have something a little bit more cohesive that might be a little bit more informative, but whatever. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.